Thank you very much for the invitation. I feel very honored to be here, and especially in particular, I'd like to thank Dr. Igano for the invitation and for the opportunity to address this group today. You should have two handouts that I provided for this presentation. One is with the slides that I will be presenting today. So you also have room there to write any notes and any comments. The second handout is this one that provides a summary of the program that I lead in the United States. Today with my presentation, I have two hats. One is as Dean of the McDonough Center, which is this handout. But then the other one is as Chair of the Board of Directors of the International Leadership Association. And those two hats then will help me guide through this presentation today. International leadership, or leadership as a field of study, has been emerging as a global movement. And I must say that I'm very impressed with Rikyo's program, and of all the programs that I have been exposed to through many different trips in different countries, this really clearly stands out, that it's a very thoughtful and a program that provides very careful attention to student development. As we look at the role that student affairs may play in leadership development, I'd like us to think a little bit about the word leadership. What do we mean by this word? And so my comments will be addressed more in terms of how we define leadership, and then how this definition may affect the relationship between the academic side and student affairs. So I'd like to start with a painting, a very famous painting in the United States, and I'd like you, and this is my style that I'd like to be a little bit more interactive. Who's the leader in this painting? Let's see. Is the leader this person? No. Is the leader this person? Is this leader this person? But he's in front. Shouldn't he be the leader? Who's the leader? Is this the leader? Why? No, I say this because everywhere I go in any country, when I show this picture and I ask this question, every time you know the leader, which is interesting that some of the assumptions that we make, for instance, he is in the taller plane, and look at the white around him, as if he has some kind of special. So leaders are special. They stand out. They create an image. So look at how he's standing. He's serious, firm. He's looking to the future. All of these are assumptions that we make that when you are a leader, you must have some special qualities. Now, this is an American painting. There are some cultural assumptions that are made there that may differ from country to country. But what I'd like us to do as far as looking at definition of leadership is to look at some of the components of leadership and how those components then have implications to the way that we set up our leadership programs. Obviously, in order to have leadership, we need leaders. But we also need followers. And I often ask my students, what if we had the global followership program? What do you think? When I ask my students that, and I ask how many of you would like to be part of the global followership program? And they all say, no, I don't want to be part of this. Why? You cannot have leadership without followers. They're important too. So I think it is important also in our leadership programs that we pay attention to follower development as well. How do you follow a leader? What do you do as a follower when your leader is acting unethically? What are the responsibilities of followers in this relationship between leaders and followers? Who defines the goals? Who determines what the goals should be in leadership? Is it always the leaders? It depends on the organizational context. That's another very important component, is helping students read the organizational context. And then the final component is the cultural context. How norms and values influence how leaders and followers relate. So, for instance, when I went, I gave a lecture in China once, and I came into the room. What did the students do? All stood up. And I said, oh, I like this. Because they're saying, I am special. I went back to the United States and went inside the classroom. What happened? Nothing. They were still talking and they ignored me. And I said, I'm the leader. I arrived. Stand up. It's not part of the culture. So then the relationship between leaders and followers are affected by those cultural norms. So when we do our leadership development programs, we also need to help students understand the values and the norms that guide that behavior, where they become aware how their actions are a product of a cultural context. So when we put all of this together, then this is the definition of leadership that we use in our program, where leadership is defined as a process. So leadership is not just what leaders do. Leadership is a process by which leaders and followers develop a relationship and work together toward a goal or goals within an environmental context shaped by cultural values and norms. Once you take this definition, then you have to look at some of the implications. So I use another painting. This is a painting, The School of Athens, where you have Plato and Aristotle in the middle having a conversation. And they had different perspectives on the way that they were supposed to interact. In our program, we divided into two in the continuum between the individual and the group, where the individual then is defined by the leader being the most important. And Plato had the concept of the philosopher king, or a very wise leader who makes all decisions and then the followers accept. You contrast that with what Aristotle had, where the followers were more important. So you have this continuum. What we do is we develop activities for our students where then it's somewhere in between those two extremes, where sometimes you have to be the follower, sometimes you have to be the leader. So a leadership development program should help students develop their own followership. So these are some of the curricular implications to finish this presentation, where leaders and followers, they also have a balance of power. How to motivate followers. Some ethical considerations. Do the ends justify the means? Are there some universal concepts that go beyond leader-follower context? Also, the organizational culture. Is your organization a machine? Does it work as an organism or of a network? The cultural context. What's the impact of globalization on leadership? These are all questions that we should be addressing in our leadership programs and helping students understand that. So I'll finish with this other handout where you have 3 key words: knowledge, action, and growth. The knowledge part is the concepts that you give the students in order to become aware of all of the dynamic that I explained. But you do this through the action component, where the practice. And this is where I think the student affairs side can be so important, is to carry the knowledge that is introduced in the classroom outside the classroom, where students have a chance to practice. And then you put the two together, knowledge and action, and you have growth. And that is the student development side, where they become reflective and grow as leaders and followers too. Thank you very much.